Everyone doing today? I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you're smiling, and I want to thank you for diving into this conversation with me today, all about going from self pity to self compassion. Now, this is a very interesting topic because it at some time in my life I said, you know what, I've been in the self pity hole, and then at other times in my life I'm like I've been in that self compassion hole, which is a beautiful realization because it helps us acknowledge that both are really available, both are there. It's up to us though to see which one we navigate towards. So what I want to do in this conversation is I want to play with narratives. I want to walk you through how we can find ourselves in self pity, and then how we can move forward, together to a level of self compassion. So self pity is very normal. It's where you may find yourself in a position of going from a negative to a positive. Sorry, a positive to a negative. And it could be, it could be where you're at in life. Maybe you feel really healthy and strong, and then you have a chronic illness, and then that chronic illness leads you to struggle to be your full whole self, right? So then that causes a change because you went from a state where you felt maybe positive to a state where now you feel negative in some sort of way. It could be that you had a beautiful job, and then you got fired from your job, and it was like a curveball in life. So then you found yourself going from a positive to a negative, if you will. Another example could be a relationship. Maybe you had the identity of being husband or being wife or being a spouse, right? And then your partner out of the blue wants a divorce, something you never wanted. And then now you find yourself in that position of having a new identity that you did not want. And then comes in these opportunities of self-pity, these opportunities of self-compassion. And again, I think that it's extremely important for us to be kind to ourselves. We're not signing up and saying, yes, I'll take some self-pity. Sometimes we find ourselves in these holes because of our upbringing. So I'll share with you an example of self-pity with a little bit deeper knowledge and understanding, so that it makes more clear sense, and then you're able to navigate towards self-compassion. So with self, and I have my notes here, so I'm looking down. So with self-pity, let's say that example of, going through a job loss or some sort of loss in your life. I use job as an example. And now what's happening is you have like this inner critic voice, which is like, let's say Bob here, or Steve, whatever name you want to give it. And it's just breaking you down. It's telling you things as far as you feel hopeless. You feel like you can't make any decisions regarding the future. And then what you do see for your future is exactly what's happening now. You're like, I lost my job, so it's going to happen again. And then you go into that blame victim mentality where, in a way you're blaming yourself, and you're blaming everything around you for what took place. And then after all of that's taken place, or while all of that's taken place, while that inner voice is breaking you down, while you're struggling to see any optimism for the future, while you're struggling to make decisions that allow tomorrow to be a better day, we build insecurity. Our self-esteem lowers, our self-worth lowers, our self-confidence lowers. And as a whole, what's really taking place is that we have this negative voice. A voice is being fed by the moment of what took place. So again, the moment of what took place was that loss. Some sort of loss took place, where, such as the job. And then from that, I interpreted that situation to create negatives. Negatives as far as, why did this happen to me? I'm a failure. I feel hopeless. There's no way my life is gonna, get any better. So then these thoughts now feed feelings, and the feelings go on when they start to break me down. They limit my behaviors of wanting to do better in life, to build healthy habits to get me out of this hole. I'm going kind of in the opposite direction, because that's what self-pity does. Self-pity grabs us. It makes us feel stuck and limited in every way. And then our thoughts, again, feed that. It feed it almost like you're feeding a pet, and it's getting stronger and stronger and not letting you escape its grips. So what we want to do is want to acknowledge, almost like an aha moment. Say, okay, that's what happens when self-pity takes place. And of course, I'm sharing with you like on a very superficial level. We can always go deeper, whether it's with me or with a counselor near you. So then from there, we want to shift over to the area of self. Well, let me mention one more part too with self-pity. Often with self-pity, when it comes to getting out, we, instead of looking for decisions that we can do on our own to get out, we look for some sort of rescue to take place. So rescue could be, maybe some random job will call me and give me a job again. Or my old job will realize they made a mistake and hire me back. Or my ex will realize that, they made a mistake and they'll want me back in their relationship. So we look for something to rescue us versus right? We're going to transition to now self-compassion. We can rescue ourselves. We can advocate for ourselves. We can love ourselves. So with self-compassion, what's happening is that instead of blaming what took place, instead of engaging in that victim mentality, we look at what happened as a real life moment. And we acknowledge that it's difficult as shit. And we hate that it happened. We do not like that it happened. So we don't brush it under the rug. We don't give it vagueness. We are genuine, vulnerable, authentic to that moment. We realize that what happened is extremely difficult and that our body is aching, our mind is aching, our spirit and soul are aching. And we do that because that's going to allow us to reach a very clear, transparent level of transformation, of healing. If we don't do that, or if we go into the blame mentality with that pity, self-pity, that's going to make it extremely difficult for us to heal because we're not working healing in any way there. So with self-compassion, instead of feeling sort of sorry for ourselves, we are again trying to nurture ourselves. We're trying to engage in healing, if you will, while accepting the realities of what took place. And then I kind of want you to look at a couple of examples of what this would look like whenever we engage in self-compassion so you can play with it. And it can come in many levels. I'll just share a few brief ones. So the first one is if I'm having the thought of I am having a difficult time, right? So that's the thoughts that come out. And then from there, I will go into I accept myself and I will give myself kindness. Or it could be, man, life is so hard right now, right? So what I'm doing is I'm giving myself a real life thought based off of that difficult moment that's taken place. And then from there, I go into, I can give myself a hug, right? So I can just hug myself, which is a form of self-compassion. I can allow myself to engage in self-care, like at the spa, or taking a nice nap, or watching a funny movie, or engaging in journal writing. What I'm doing with self-compassion is very different. It's transformational compared to self-pity. When I engage in self-pity, I'm going into a rabbit hole that's deeper and deeper. And it allows, in a way, it hinders me from making moves, from making decisions. I feel stuck in that space. And whatever future I see it in relation to how all of this started. So it started with a negative, and I'm going to see the future in that same negative way. Whereas with self-compassion, I'm acknowledging that I do not like what's taking place. And in any way, I see the hurt in it. I see the pain in it. I allow myself to dive into that hurt, to dive into that pain, but in a therapeutic, healing way, right? An example of that could be that I allow myself to cry for the hurt and loss that I feel from a lost job that I really loved. Or I allow myself to journal write, or I give myself a hug for the lost relationship that I really wanted to work, but it didn't work. And then from there, that opens up the opportunity to see my future with light, with brightness, in a beautiful way. I am not limited anymore. I'm engaging in the process of healing and recovering, where I'm able to now see an opportunity available, a door open for tomorrow. So hopefully in this conversation, you're able to gather some of those nuggets. You're able to see that pathway of self-pity, and then you're also able to see the pathway of self-compassion. I believe in you. I know that you're able to dance with those two. I know that you're able to select the self-compassion. Give yourself time. Give yourself space. This may not be an overnight or in a week or a month that you see this transformation take place, but give yourself the gift of time. Give yourself the gift of space. Allow each day an opportunity to do one small thing. It could be as small as repeating, I am having a difficult time. It could be as small as repeating, I accept myself. Or I will give myself kindness. Or lying in bed and giving yourself a hug. I know these things may sound really, really small, but they go a long way, right? It's no different than going the other direction and saying something negative. I hate myself, right? That adds up over a period of time, and then we develop certain negative tendencies. So I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you're able to steer from self-pity and develop that sense of self-compassion. And if you get stuck, let me know. There are many amazing resources out there, amazing books, amazing clinicians that are able to help us navigate life and move forward in our journey. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing space with me. Have a beautiful day.